Hello, hello. Welcome to Benny Babbles, sponsored by the Enhancement Project and the Enhancement Project app. If you go to www.theenhancementproject.co.uk, you can download the app there. It's a life coach in your pocket. Right, thanks very much for tuning in to another Benny's Babbles. My special guest, I'm going to bring him straight in. Louis. Come in.
Hello.
No, I'm not.
Hello, sir.
No, you got to help me, beard, Lewis. It's just Louis Barfe, yeah? Or
No, it's Louis Barfe.
Louis Barfe.
Yeah,
There we are.
nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Louis Barfe.
Thank you, Geraint Bonnet.
Yeah. I get much worse. I get Geraint, Geraint. So that's my favorite so far. Geraint. It's like, oh, well, okay, yeah, you know me then.
So we both got stick when we were at school, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. And being Benny as well. I was Benny Hill.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, Benny from Crossroads.
Oh, I'm Benny from Crossroads. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm very pleased to see that we may constrain strong language or subjects of an adult nature.
Yes, we do.
That's what I was hoping for, frankly. So I'll put because I had the screen. I've got two monitors here, like a ponce, and I had the screen with us on the left hand side one. So I was looking to one side. Oh, like I'm on Parkinson or something. like I've got Parkinson's. You know. Yeah. Hello.
I'm not that advanced yet.
Aren't you? Oh.
You have the split screen? No, not yet. Give me a couple of weeks.
Well, see, the thing is, and this is all very relevant to what we're talking about. Two monitors are brilliant when you're writing because you can have a screen with the page, and you can have a screen with all your notes and research tabs and everything. In the other one, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done it for years, and it makes such a difference.
Yeah, because you're not switching back and forth. Then it is.
No, it's great.
Still got everything at your fingertips. And talking about research and writing, this is what we've got you on for tonight. Now, I've met you a number of times. I think the last time was at the Dapper FM meeting. I believe.
Yeah, that was that. Yes,
and
it was.
no. I knew that you played drums.
Yeah. But you must have passed my house there.
I didn't know though that you were an author as well.
Well, I don't like to go on about it, which is possibly a very bad thing to do from a self-publicity point of view, because if people don't on Twitter, I've had people who follow me for years, and then when I've got a book out, they go, "Oh, is that what you do?" Yeah. Whereas there are an awful lot of authors on Twitter who exist solely on Twitter to promote their books, and it's sort of, whereas I just go on there to swear at Michael Gove.
What a reason to go on Twitter for?
Blocked by his wife just in the last week. I'm happy to report. Yeah.
Oh, you're doing something right then.
Yeah. I think the reason I was blocked was because I pointed out that saying you'd like to kick her husband in the bollocks isn't actually a threat to do so.
No, it's not. It's just a suggestion of something you'd like to do.
It's wish fulfillment. You know, I'd like to time travel back to play with Count Basie in 1962, but it's not a threat to invent time travel.
No, it's not. No. Or I'd like to go to the moon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go.
Hey, yours is more likely than mine. at this current stage.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So, what are your books about? You said there's 4.5.
Oh, 4.5. Yes. Well, let's go through hang on. I didn't realize we were going to be live. I should have researched this. And I just wanted tell my 8 Twitter followers that I'm here doing this. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you tell them.
I'm just gonna say, yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm get them. Sorry, bear with.
No, that's okay. Don't worry. It's a very relaxed show, as people who will say, if you look back on the disasters we've had. Have been fantastic.
I've got some red wines.
Oh well, we'll be sitting. I got my
I
glass
like
of
fantastic
water.
disasters.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
It's how I live my life.
Right, go on. Sorry, books. Yeah. This was the first one. Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Which was a history of the record industry from Edison up to 2003 when I finished it. It was all about ended up about file sharing and Napster and all that. Yeah. But actually, the stuff that I really enjoyed were all the stories I heard from old record industry sweats. So there's loads of sort of anecdotes about recording sessions and things like that. You know, spoke to the guy who rejected the Beatles and all that. Mike Smith was his name. And then I did Turned Out Nice Again, which is the story of British Light Entertainment. And again, speaking to old producers and writers and all that. I mean, generally, I've found that speaking to producers and writers is more interesting than speaking to stars, because the stars have got this myth to burnish, and they've got all their stories, and whereas the old producers tend to have really good memories, and they'll tell you the stuff that the stars wouldn't think was interesting. I mean, I'm not talking about muckraking or anything.
No, but it's the things that about the stars. I suppose the stars they're thinking it from an ego point of view and everything
about the stars, but also, I mean, there's a lovely story. It's in actually, I think is it in Turned Out Nice Again, or is it in my Les Dawson book? I can't remember which one it's in. About a writer who had a terrible wig, who shall remain nameless, but his name is in fact Brad Ashton. He was known. he was known. he was known.
Hey, Brad.
He was known in the show business as the Wig and Pen. And one day it was on a Mike and Bernie Winters show. This was done in the old ABC studios at Didsbury in Manchester, which was a converted cinema. And the studio floor was the stalls area, and the audience sat in the former balcony, which was still there. And one day, Bernie Winters said, I think it was to Royston Mayer, who was then a cameraman, said, "Look, get Brad just under the balcony." Okay. Bernie Winters had got a fishing rod, and he got him under there, and he hooked the wig off and flew it all around the studio. Everyone was peeing themselves laughing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's another great Brad Ashton story, which is he used to run a writing school, learn to write for the comedy greats and all that. And he used to sometimes take his writing pupils to TV studios and just sit them in on rehearsals. And one day, he went into a Morecambe and Wise show at the BBC, and he Eddie Braben said, "What are all these people doing, sitting watching the rehearsal?" And Eric Morecambe said, "Oh, that's just Brad Ashton. He does a writing school, and we let him in sometimes." And during the break, they got talking, and Eddie Braben said, "Hello, I'm Eddie. I'm the writer." And Brad Ashton said, "Yes, we've met before. It was in the toilet at the Dorchester." And Eddie Braben said, "Oh, I see you've got a different job now." Which is just the perfect comeback, which is why Eddie Braben was writing for Morecambe and Wise and Brad Ashton wasn't. It's just a beautiful line, and Braben was full of music. Great man. Yeah.
To have growing up, Morecambe and Wise were my gran loved Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah,
and
it
I used
united
to
us.
Yeah, and it's sort of, I used to watch Morecambe and Wise with my gran.
Yeah,
and I still watch Morecambe and Wise on YouTube.
Well, that's the thing, and they're still on every Christmas. Christmas doesn't happen unless Morecambe and Wise are on it. But when they did their last Christmas show, 83. Who else who had Eric Morecambe died in 1984? Who else from that era is on every Christmas? And not down among the wines and spirits, not among
no, it's prime time.
Yeah, not middle of the night on some channel down by Babe Station. It's BBC One. Talking of Babe Station and all those channels, as you go through and you spool through, there's a dating channel down there. And I was really, really disappointed when I saw what it was actually called, because it's called Kiss, Chat and Date. And first I thought, oh, Chat and Dave, brilliant. Actually, that'd be a great concert, wouldn't it be? Chaz and Dave with Kiss. Chaz and Dave with all the makeup on it. Yeah.
I can see
Or Kiss, Gene Simmons and all that, sat around the piano.
Playing Chaz and Dave.
That would be fantastic.
I'm sold. I'm there. I'm watching it.
Well, I think if Simmons is watching, cut me in on the royalties, boy.
So, out of the how did you start writing? What was the?
Oh, well, see, the thing is, I feel a bit of a fraud describing myself as a writer. I'm a researcher who writes up his notes and puts them into a book.
That's a writer.
Yeah, but I'm not. These words have been hewn from the rocks. I'm not precious about it. It's sort of sit down. I mean, it's a nice job, but it's a job. I suppose I started out as a journalist. I was a journalist on a trade newspaper called Publishing News,
right?
Which covered the book publishing industry. So I used to go out to book launches every night. I was in my mid-20s, living in London, and after work 5:30. Oh, there's I go to 3 in a night sometimes, and I get completely pissed and have to write stuff about what I
Yeah.
But it was fun, and all that time. One night, I got on the piss with I was on the piss with publishers all the time, and one night I got talking with a publisher, and we were talking about our record collections.
Right.
And he was a big music fan, and he sold. Toby Mundy was his name, and still is. He's not running the publishing firm anymore, and I'm not with that publisher anymore. But Toby, we were talking about, and he bought and sold secondhand records to pay his way through university. And, we were having a good old Anaraki conversation. And I said to him, right, the pound sign on a Parlophone record? He said, yeah. I said, it's not a pound sign. He said, what is it? I said, it's an old German L, because the company was founded by a man called Carl Lindstrom. He said, that's fucking fascinating. And I went, and I peeled off a few more of these.
Yeah.
And the next day I got an email from him saying, I think there might be a book in all that stuff. I went, yeah. He went, No, I mean you. Because I thought, I thought writers needed to paper their walls with rejection slips and whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, conversation in a pub. I think it might have been an Anne Widdecombe book launch.
No, we won't. I'll cut that out for you.
I think it was in the Red Lion on Whitehall after some. Yeah, that's ringing a bell now. But anyway, and so he said, write me a proposal. So I wrote a proposal, and I handed it in on the 10th of September 2001. So I didn't hear for a bit. I thought it had gone away. But then in October, he said, I've got a contract here if you want it. And we went to the pub and I signed the contract in the pub.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. I've been an incredibly lucky twat. Yeah. That was the first one. That was Where Have All the Good Times Gone? And, they gave me enough money to go and do a week in New York researching. And
nice.
for the first, basically, these were all interviews I could have done over the phone. And I ended up having to do them over the phone because there was a snowstorm and New York was deluged with snow. So my meeting with Ahmet Ertegun of Atlantic had to be cancelled because he was stuck at home. Bruce Lundvall, who ran Capital and Blue Note, he was on Long Island. I did meet Seymour Stein, who ran Sire and signed Madonna. That was a great, that was a great interview. Sitting in his office high up in Rockefeller Plaza. That was amazing. But the most exciting thing about the whole visit wasn't the work. I knew that Les Paul played in a jazz club every week in New York. I think we arrived on the Sunday and he played on the Monday night. So we went, me and my wife, as was then. Well, no, girlfriend as was then. Now my ex-wife. We went to see Les Paul at this jazz club. And there is a picture of me talking to Les Paul, because at the end of it, old school show business class, he wouldn't leave until everybody had had a photo and an autograph. He was brilliant. Yeah,
that is amazing. That's
sitting to the man who invented multi-track recording and basically perfected the electric guitar, as well as being one of the most brilliant electric guitarists there's ever been. All of his stuff, where if you listen to things like What Is This Thing Called Love, which is actually one of those great things that jazz musicians do, where you change the meaning of a title by inserting punctuation. So that becomes, what is this thing called, love? But his recording of What Is This Thing Called Love, where everything is him, sped up, slowed down. And this was all done on 2 tape recorders. It was just overdubbing, and there was no multi-track recording at that time. He was just layering it on himself. Brilliant man. And I got to meet him, and I I'm very, very lucky. I've got to meet some amazing people. Yes. So that was the first book. And then the second one was basically my childhood consisted of watching television with my grandparents, and then when we all went on holiday, going and seeing Summer Seasons, and people like the brilliant Norman Collier with the microphone cuts in and out. Which is brilliant act. The people who say, oh, Norman Collier only had 2 jokes, and you go, they're 2 of the best jokes you'll hear, and he did them brilliantly, and he invented them. I love Norman Collier so much. He's brilliant. And so people, I've always been fascinated with that, old variety and things like that. So that was turned out nice again, the second one. And I've just realized that I've got 2 copies of Turned Out Nice Again, and I haven't got the Les Dawson one here. I know.
No, that's the one I want to talk. Yeah, I again, it doesn't matter.
Don't move.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. Oh,
Sorry.
Stood on the dog. So yeah, he'll be back now. Yeah, just a moment. So yeah, I'll just say too, they will be contain strong language and subjects of adult nature on the show. So if you are listening, it's your first time to Benney Babbles, welcome.
Oh dear.
Right, anyway. There we are. Yeah, like you hadn't gone.
I'm back.
Like you hadn't gone. Like you hadn't gone.
I dare say you filled magnificently.
I just babbled. That's why it's called Benney Babbles.
Hence the name. Yes.
Les Dawson.
The Trials and Triumphs of Les Dawson, which wasn't the original title.
No? What was the original title?
Well, see, the thing is, every time I wrote a book, the publisher would change my suggestion for the title. I gave up. Turned Out Nice Again was going to be Into the Light, and Where Have All the Good Times Gone was going to be called Round and Round.
Right.
I thought that, everything in the history of the record industry just happened again and again and again, And there's also the song, The Music Goes Round and Round, and it comes out here. And when I did the Les Dawson proposal, I just thought, sod this. I just went Les Dawson, the biography. And when it got there, the publisher went, yeah, but we need a snappier title than that. And I went, well, how about and actually we came up with it between us. Well, his catchphrase, knickers, knackers, knockers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was called that all the way through. And then one day I got a phone call. Yeah, Louis, we're going to have to change the title. And I went, but Toby, it was your idea this time. He said, yeah. And it was a good one. He said, but we had a production meeting, and the production manager pointed out that the initials, and I went, oh shit, KKK. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it became the Trials and Triumphs of Les Dawson. Yeah. Who I adored, never met sadly, but he's a real hero of mine. I admired the bathos. I also thought that he was obviously a clever bloke,
extremely clever,
undercurrents of everything. Hey, have you read his dystopian novel A Time Before Genesis, which we're currently living through, by the way?
Yeah. No, I haven't read it. No,
it's an astonishing thing.
It's 12 books he wrote altogether, wasn't it?
Possibly. I didn't count them. No, but 12 sounds about right. Yeah,
because that's the one thing. Not a lot of people. They just thought of him as a comedian. They didn't see. They didn't know that he'd written book. That he wrote books. He loved writing. Writing really was his biggest passion.
Yeah, that was what he wanted to do, really. He wanted to be taken seriously as an author. I mean, his best book is called A Card for the Clubs. It's his first one, and it's a very, very gritty, noirish book about a club comedian, and it's not autobiographical. Because this guy is a massive failure, and he was for years, but there is no hope. This guy, and he keeps fucking everything up. But it's a really good book. And at one point in the 70s, Kenneth Trodd, of Dennis Potter fame and all of that, wanted to option it to do it as a play for today with Dawson playing the lead character himself. And there are memos in the BBC written archives all about this. It's a real shame it didn't happen.
Because he did eventually do it wasn't his writing, was it? It was hang on, I can remember what it's called now. Was it Nana or something like that?
Honor, yes, where he
Yeah.
played the Argentinian grandmother, who
Um,
is actually an allegory for rampaging inflation.
yeah, amazing performance.
Amazing performance, and to hold his own with, I mean,
Timothy
he had
Spall, wasn't it?
Jim Broadbent, Liz Smith, amazing. Oh, Jane Horrocks, very young Jane Horrocks in it, and he held his own and was brilliant. I mean, he had no dialogue; he just had to,
just be.
grunts, groans, fragments of words and sentences. But I think he improvised a lot of that, and no, it was an astonishing thing. Yeah.
BBC, yeah, that was a BBC Playhouse thing. It was, I think it was, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was. Yeah. I think Performance 1 or something. Yeah.
But no, again,
hang on, I've got a book that will tell us. Hang on.
Yeah,
What's
if only
that?
we knew somebody that
If
had
only we-
written a book.
Well, Stone the Crows. What are the chances? Yeah.
I know it was I think it was early 90s, wasn't it?
It was about 1991. Yeah.
Because again, I only came across it a couple of years ago on YouTube.
Yeah. He also did a great series in the 70s written by Alan Plater called The Loner. And there's an episode where he buys a pen that doesn't work, and he ends up in the mansion of the bloke who owns the pen making company, and all he wants is a pen that works. And the tycoon explains to him why it's absolutely imperative that the pen doesn't work, otherwise the whole of British industry will fall. It all depends, Dawson. It all hinges on that pen not working. If you had a pen that worked, you wouldn't replace it. Oh, hadn't thought of that. It's Alan Plater, brilliant script. Yeah.
Yeah, because he is such an interesting character, because if you think about it, between him sort of and as they went into the 80s, lots of the older comedians sort of went away because of political correctness. You know, your Les Dawson, no, your Les Dawson, oh no, in fact, I'm going to say Bernard Manning. Now, I know his wife thought he was Bernard Manning the first time she met him.
Yeah, well, because they were both they're both roughly the same age, and they grew up about a mile apart in Manchester.
Yeah, and but sort of they had sort of got, but he still stayed there.
Manning,
you know, because Manning got it when it's up, but we sort of everyone else went off telly.
Yeah.
He stayed on. Les Dawson stayed on telly and carried on, and it was because there was something more.
He adapted. And I think, you know, with the political correctness and all that, you know, when you watch all of his stuff, there's no racism in it.
No,
absolutely no racism at all. I've watched all of his surviving material, and it's absolutely clear.
It's street humor. Because this is when he used to love going to Blackpool, didn't he? And watching and listening to people, and you know, that's when he got his humour. You know, he was a writer, like I said, first and foremost. So sitting around listening to people, that's where you can get your material from. But it was
it was observation.
Totally.
But the thing is also, when the Comedy Store opened in London, and it was all the alternative comedians, they used to do the open mic stuff, and some of the old timers would go down and chance it, and they were all very right on. You know, there's a comedian down there called Jim Barclay, who was very, very, very left wing, A brilliant actor. He's done all sorts of stuff. And they went down in varying degrees. So like Lenny Bennett, who presented Punchlines, went out and did his usual act and died and was booed off. And his parting words as he left the stage were, "Well, I'm going home in a Rolls Royce tonight." Now, Dawson went along to the Comedy Store, and these young, right-on comedians were expecting him to go the same way as Lenny Bennett. He went on, and he was, he just charmed everyone, had them rolling in the aisles, and even Jim Barclay, who was going to be a very hard to please audience member, shook his hand as he came off and said, that was brilliant. He said, "Oh, thank you." And he said, "Well, are you going to come back and do it again?" And Dawson went, "No, I've proved to myself I can do it now." But just a clever guy, and just a very, very kind guy.
He was,
yeah.
and I went through lots of tragedy in his life as well, didn't he? When
he
lost, losing his wife and everything, and but then found love, within a year, really, and which was amazing.
Within a year, sorry.
Was it a couple of years? Wasn't it? It was.
There was a certain degree of overlap.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't get it.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter because you could see as a couple they were fantastic together.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, they doted on each other. It was plain to see whenever they had interview, and it was nice to see when they doted as well. That
Charlotte's great. Yeah.
It was just which you didn't see really, but with the.
Well, the thing is, Les's elder children, I think he and I think particularly Les's first wife, Meg, I think they said, "Well, show business is all very well, but don't want to don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthing."
Yeah.
So they all have gone and done completely different things, and fought shy of it, really. Now, the thing is, Les's eldest daughter, Julie, is a nurse, but she's a good friend of mine, and she is very much her father's daughter. She's hilarious. It's the same sense of humor, and I'll go for dinner with her and her husband, and you'll just hear little things will come out, and you'll go, "Oh yeah, that's him. Yeah, she's brilliant." They all. I've not met Stuart, the son, but Julie and Pam I know, and great people.
Honestly, if there's something on about Les Dawson or any of them really of that era, like I've got to watch it. I really have, and it brings back so many happy memories of childhood for me.
Yeah. It's who was so Morecambe wise, Les Dawson, but how old are you?
47.
Right, so I'm 47 next week, and
happy birthday.
Thank you. And you and I are both, I think, possibly cusp age, so we'll have got both the old traditional comedians, but we'll also be the perfect age for Rick age.
I think we had the best of both worlds. I really do.
Yeah,
because
one really fascinating person in all of this is Bob Monkhouse,
the king of comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's an endlessly fascinating figure, and I'd love to do him one day because right, so he used to do these benefits for the Conservative Party and all that, and so basically he was absolute fodder for the alternatives to take the piss and go,
Yeah.
But that was in public. in private, they all loved him because he was incredibly kind, incredibly generous. And he would, Lenny Henry, I saw Lenny Henry at a thing, and he was talking about Bob Monkhouse. And he said, you'd be at the BBC in the dinner queue or whatever, or you'd be going into BAFTA or whatever, and you'd hear, Lenworth? Lenny Henry's proper full name is Lenworth. Lenworth, saw your show last night. First sketch, brilliant. Second sketch, wasn't sure about the tag. Possibly needed a bit more work. He'd go through and give him his notes. And the infuriating thing was that the bugger was always right.
Right.
Yeah. And he had no professional jealousy. He was one of these people who he never tried to upstage anyone. And if the show, if the show got the laugh, if someone got a laugh on his show, the show gets the laugh. Everyone looks good, which, all the greats have that. Morecambe and Wise, Dawson, all of them have that complete lack of professional jealousy. The ones who get antsy about people being funnier than them are the ones who don't survive.
You've got to lose your ego.
No, absolutely. And the monkey thing. But he was also this massive archivist. You've seen the documentary, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, what he used to do, and he had video recorders long before anyone else did. And he used to record these shows like New Faces and whatever, so that he'd have a reference if he wanted to book a comedian on his show. So he'd go, if it came up later, the black kid from New Faces. What tape's that on? Yeah, he's perfect. We'll get him in. So now, of course, they didn't keep the recordings. The only reason Lenny Henry's first appearance on New Faces exists is because Bob Monkhouse recorded it.
Didn't he get arrested for owning?
Yes, he did. There's the trial for
what was the?
Yeah, that was, and this, right. In any form of collecting, there is a hierarchy, isn't there? There are the gatekeepers, and the people who. There's the story about the man who bought that. There were two examples of the world's rarest stamp. He had one and bought the other one to burn it so that he had the one. Yeah. So you got people like that. Now, Bob Monkhouse, big silent film fan, and he had a collection, an amazing collection. And there was an American collector, I think, called Raymond Rohauer, who didn't like Bob's. Didn't like. Bob used to lend the films out to his mates, and Bob was open about stuff. And you go, what that Buster Keaton thing? Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, you can come around and collect it, and just bring it back next week. Now, the other collectors who go, no, mine. They, because a lot of these films were still in copyright. And they basically dobbed Bob Monkhouse into the police, saying that he was hiring these films out without paying the studios or the stars. No, he was just lending them to Ronnie Corbett for a Saturday night at home or whatever. It really was that sort of level. It was just, no, borrow it. Just be careful with it. Don't scratch the film. And so basically that was it. The whole trial was about him hiring films out, whereas in fact he was lending them out to his mates,
to people. Yeah.
And but the great thing is, obviously, people didn't understand that it was a very arcane, boring copyright issue. And he got in a cab once and say, "Oh, we know, but all right, Bob, you got your dirty films back." They're not dirty films; they're the Keystone fucking pop. But the great thing was the day he was acquitted, and the Metropolitan Police never gave him back most of his collection.
Never? Oh, I hadn't realised that.
Oh, no, he didn't get it back. It was all, It was all lost in the machinery. But he, on the day he was acquitted, he went, look, the press will be outside. There'll be a photo opportunity. And he got his manager, look, go home. There's some empty film cans in the shed. Bring them to me and bring me a marker pen and some tape. So he had these empty film cans and he wrote film titles on strips around the outside of the film. So he did the photo opportunity coming out of the Old Bailey with this pile of film cans with these film titles on. Now, Bob Monkhouse, being Bob Monkhouse, couldn't resist writing a couple of films that were known to be lost. And the fucking collectors who tried to get him done rang him up and said, we see you've got a copy of, where did you get that? I thought I had the only, oh, you bastard. Yeah. Yeah, he outed them.
I love it.
Clever man. And his autobiography, Crying with Laughter, is the great showbiz autobiography. It's fantastic. It really is, immensely self-critical. Yeah. He was
because he wrote everything down, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Everything. His joke books are legendary.
Oh so, no, yeah. When they went missing, it was
I think was it Joe Pasquale that found him for him, or
I think it was. Yeah. They but the thing was, again, people thought it was a publicity stunt. And he went, no, these really are. And he said they're not really, and they weren't really joke books. They would be sort of 1 or 2 word cues for a joke. But a lovely Bob Monkhouse story that I heard when I was researching my latest book, which we'll come to. Anthony Wall, who was the editor of Arena, the documentary strand at the BBC for years, he went to Bob Monkhouse's house with a view to doing a Bob Monkhouse documentary. And they were talking, and a fire engine went past, and Bob Monkhouse got up, went to the window, and he said, Anthony, I can't help it. There are now 25 fire engine jokes going round my head, and I have to tell someone. And he said, and the thing is, I'm not alone. We're like this. This is how we are. We can be no other way. I will ring Neil Shand up and I'll say, there's a fire engine gone past, and he'll give me his fire engine jokes. I'll give him mine. We can't, our brains are wired this way. We cannot be any other way. And it's just
because he started off as in a double act, wasn't it?
Yeah, Monkhouse and Goodwin. Well, originally he started off as a cartoonist, and that was something that he did later on as well. He did a series at Thames called Quick on the Draw, which was a sort of game show, celebrity game show with people like Spike Milligan, Alfred Marks, and all that. And they come on, and it'd be like almost like Pictionary, and they'd have to draw a thing and do the gag on a draw. It was celebrities sitting at easels with marker pens. And he's a really good artist. I mean, I've got some of Bob Monkhouse's old scripts where he's doodled on the back of them.
Incredible. That's and
actually talking about celebrity artifacts. Behind my head, I have a bass drum pedal. And I posted about this on Twitter today. Now, what's so special about this bass drum pedal? It is a Slingerland Yellow Jacket made in the late 1970s in Niles, Illinois.
Please do tell.
It was Animal's bass drum pedal.
No way.
That's Animal from the Muppet Show's bass drum pedal. Animal from the Muppet Show was a drummer called Ronnie Verrill. And that's the actual pedal he used when Animal did the drum battle with Buddy Rich.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That deserves a book in itself.
Yeah, bass drum pedals of the Infamous. Yeah,
But,
no,
but so yeah, but before we go off Bob Monkhouse,
that was given to me by my mate Nick Hopkin, who used to run a vintage drum shop in Abergavenny, and one day,
how like it's
one day I was just in there, and he went, "I've got a present for you," and I went, "What?" He went, "Yeah, it's Ronnie's bass drum pedal." I went, "How much do you want for it?" He went, "No, it's a present for you." He said, I went, "Why?" He went, "Well, you know, Nick and I were working together on a brilliant magazine called Vintage Drums, Legendary Sounds," and he went, "Well, it's a thank you for the magazine work, and also, who else plays drums and appreciates the show business side of it?"
yeah.
Okay. Yes, I've got it, and I've got the original box, and yeah, it's good pedal actually.
That is all. That
Yeah.
you,
In my own quiet way, I'm a slight Monkhouse because my video library is 12 cases of recordable DVDs. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah,
Sorry.
it'd be much easier to keep these days.
Oh yeah. I've gone through VHS, Betamax, everything, the lot. Yeah.
Because Bob Monkhouse was in the first Carry On
Carry
film.
On. He was.
Carry On
Yeah.
Sergeant.
Yes, he was.
Because he was offered to do the others, but he was.
I thought, was it a management thing or too
I
busy?
think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, he was incredibly busy. He had a TV series in the mid-50s called Fast and Loose, and they did the first show, and he was so busy writing for everyone else. He and Dennis Goodwin, his writing partner and comedy act partner, they just about managed to scrape together half an hour of material for their first show. But then they realized the tank was dry and they were both burnt out. And so he came off air and fell into a faint, cold sweat, got signed off by a doctor, and they postponed the rest of the series for 6 months, during which time they came up with lots of new material. It was an absolute fake job. He wasn't that ill, but he just did it to get the medical excuse to postpone the series.
Postpone the series.
Yeah.
I mean, his last sort of public performance was the one in front of
all the comedians.
All the comedians. Yeah. And again, that, as we were saying earlier, even though there was that snobbery there, everyone still loved him.
I think by that time the snobbery had gone. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
Have I Got News for You appearance in '94? I think that was what. Oh, hang on.
He still got it.
Yeah, and the thing is, competitive old sod. He knew it was his big chance to get back. You know, the thing is, he used to get stick for doing all the game shows, but actually, he had no snobbery. He enjoyed doing the game shows. A lot of comedians look down on the game shows. No, he loved the mechanics of it, and he loved the catchphrases and all that. Bingo lingo, clicks. It's time to take your pick of the six. And he loved all that. But he realized that he was viewed as that.
Yeah.
And he thought, this is my chance to get back and for people to realize that I can do this and can cut it in a modern way. And it worked brilliantly. And he had, they have a little preparation. Right. With Have I Got News for You? They have a little preparation time before the show. They're given a little early look at the questions. So, most of the people just go in and sit down with a coffee and Monkhouse went off to one side with Colin Edmonds, his co-writer. Colin, lovely, lovely man, brilliant writer, has written for everyone, but was especially close to Bob. and like almost like a son to Bob. And Colin and Bob went into the corner and wrote all of the stuff that he did on the show, and Monkhouse delivered it like it was an ad lib. That was the skill, the art.
Yeah, it was.
Still
Yeah,
the art. And and that's just. And they went, oh, okay. I think Francis Wheen was on that one. I think he was one of the other panelists. I seem to remember Francis, and I'm sure it was Francis who told me that they went off into a huddle. Yeah.
But like you said, yeah, it seemed as if it was totally off the cuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But he had so much information in that head of his.
Oh God,
and knowledge. It's
a Rolodex of gags. Yeah, well, 25 fire engine gags, and but see, the thing is, quite a lot of apparently spontaneous comedians are anything but. You look at Morecambe and Wise. They were the hardest in the business. They wanted a week with Andre Previn for that one sketch. And
the piano sketch.
Yeah. And
one of the greatest lines in comedy.
Yeah.
I do know the two, not necessarily in the right order.
Yeah. No, but it's full of great lines. Could you make the introduction a bit longer? Or about 3 feet, whatever, and also, if you watch it, Morecambe shouts at the band, "Which one's the fixer?" and the band all laugh. And do you understand the joke?
Yeah, I think.
Well,
no. Go on. Explain it just in case.
The fixer was generally the first violin, and he was the musician who booked the band. So they'd contract. He's the orchestral contractor, also known as the fixer, and it would be right. We need 27 musicians in this lineup to be at Television Centre on Saturday, the 10th of November at 10 in the morning. Right. Okay. So it would be that one musician would get all the others. And so and the rule was you didn't piss the fixer off, because if you did, your work dried up. And some of them got a bit high on their own fumes on this, and they thought they were, really sort of power brokers. Yeah. And the fixers, there was one guy who rang up and said, "Can you play this Pamela Morton music?" And I can't remember who it was. I think it was a bass player. It might have been Mo Foster saying, "Pamela Morton? Yeah, Pamela Morton. This American soul stuff. Diana Ross. Tamla Motown." Pamela Morton music. Yeah. Sneeze.
Bless you. Bless you. Third one, like no. Third one, lucky. See, there's always a third one waiting. Yes. Always a third one. So, four, 5. Like magpies.
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. Magpie.
Oh, another amazing. Yes. No, our house was more of a magpie than a Blue Peter.
I was versatile. I went between the two. Mick Roberts and I was both. See, you do meet people, strange people, who we weren't allowed to watch ITV in our household.
Yes,
BBC. So they missed Tiswas, for God's sake.
Something that me and Eggy talk about quite regularly on our Saturday morning show. It's
no, it's Tiswas was a great thing.
Yeah, we were more of a swap shop.
All the rock bands used to queue up to go on it, not just because, you know, it'd sell lots of records, but because it was great fun. And what they used to do, they'd turn up on the Friday night, stay in the Holiday Inn next to the studios in Birmingham, and get really, 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 really pissed. And Tarrant would be there as well. And quite often they would stay up all night and go on and do the show in the morning, having been up all night on the piss next door. So yeah, Status Quo, Genesis, and all that. Yeah, they were in the Holiday. But during the making of Tiswas, there's this story that Chris Tarrant tells, and it is one of my favorite show business anecdotes. Oh my god! Right, okay. ATV, who made Tiswas, got a discount on the Holiday Inn, and Frank Carson rang up. That's a cracker. That's a cracker. It's the way I tell him. Carson rang up Tarrant one day and said, "Chris, I've got some booking." Well, I won't do the accent. It'll be offensive.
I thought you were going to go for it then.
That's as much as I can do. But could you get us the discount rate? I've got some bookings round the clubs in the Midlands. And I'll base myself at the Holiday Inn in Birmingham. And Tarrant went, yeah, no problem. Because, you know, Carson would come and do the show on a Saturday morning at the drop of a hat. And, you know, oh, no, paying the favour back. Now, each room was like 24 quid. And for the 24 quid, you got a double bed and 2 little single beds, like a Travelodge family room. And midway through the week, Tarrant rings Carson and says, you know, checks everything's going okay. Oh, is it all okay? Are you getting everything you wanted? You know, no problems. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. He said, and Chris Tarrant goes, well, you know, it's a good old deal, isn't it? You know, 24 quid. And Carson says, no, Chris, £6. £6. He went, £6? How have you managed that? He said, I'm sharing with the bachelors. I know. I'm sharing with the bachelors. And Tarrant tells that story on a DVD documentary called From ATV Land in Colour, which, if you can get it, is full of brilliance. Really, really worth watching. Yeah.
Oh, I will. I'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
Now, we'll your next book.
What, the most recent?
Yeah, is that Ken Dodd? Yeah, another.
Yes,
another.
A great man, and this time I had the luxury of writing about someone I had actually met.
So you actually got to meet him.
Yeah, only briefly after a show in Lowestoft, where I lived for a long time. And the theatre manager there, Martin Halliday, said, "Oh, come round after. He'd love to meet you. You know, because you write about the stuff that." So I went round. You know, this is about 12, 13 years ago, and went round after, had a lovely chat. And yeah, I'm not one of these people who, you know, selfies are a bit, you know, I don't need that. You know, it's a bit.
Yeah,
a bit déclassé. And I thought, but he's one of those people who absolutely said, "Oh, come have a picture." And so there's this picture of me and Ken Dodd, and it's lovely. And also, he gave me a tickling stick. People say, "What? Didn't sell you it?" No, he gave me it. Yeah. And it was a prized thing until we got a beagle who ate it.
Oh,
yeah, yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's good. But again, yeah, another hero of mine. The man.
Did you ever see him live?
No, I never got to see him live. And
God, you missed out.
You know, it shows legendary, weren't they? Really?
Yes, they were. I think everybody I think everybody really should have seen Ken Dodd once, and I'm so glad I did. Yeah, it was a, and you know, that was like 2008 or whatever, and I thought, oh, best get in while I can. He might not go on forever, and he went on for another 10 years. You know,
Yeah,
right up almost to the end.
He wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because again,
Yeah.
an interesting chap, lived in the same house all his life, born in that house.
No,
and
born in a different house, but moved there very early on.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, but still, you know, to live in I think his father lived
And
to
he
a
owned
fair old age,
and he owned the house next door.
and he owned the, as you would, I suppose.
But the thing is, he didn't do anything. You know, sometimes some people would buy the house next door and have it all knocked through into one. Basically, his whole house was a prop store. And apparently he would just fill a room, keep filling it, and when the door wouldn't open, he'd move on to the next one, and then sort of buy the house next door and carry on. It was just again, the monkhouse tendency, except in his case, I don't think it manifested itself in recordings. It manifested itself in physical props, a lot of which he built. You know, he and his father used to build them in the backyard.
Well, yeah, because it's because of his dad, really, that he did what he did, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, he always said that his dad was the funniest man he'd ever met.
Yeah.
And when he was a kid, he'd go and do
ventriloquist
charity gigs and the ventriloquist act. Yeah, he'd go and use material that his dad had given him. Yeah, no,
I said that you see him as just as kind, but the thing is, Ernie Wise is the same. He was a child star as well, basically.
Yes.
A child entertainer.
They both were, Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They both met. They met in a show called Youth Takes a Bow. Jack Hilt. Yeah,
that's right. Because his mother used to go everywhere with him, and then sort of felt sorry for Ernie then because he was on his own all the time.
Basically, Sadie practically adopted Ernie, and Eric. Absolutely no jealousy at all whatsoever. He would say, "Oh no, she treated us as equals," and and he used to call him Lily White. It's the thing; she liked him because he never did anything wrong. But it was, and that's a love story. That is.
There's a fantastic BBC drama, isn't it? Eric and Ernie.
Victoria Wood.
It is. It is so well made because Vic Reeve plays his dad.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And Victoria Wood plays the mum. Sadie.
Yeah.
And I think she produced it and got it made. But when you watch Eric and Ernie in not so much in the ATV stuff where Ernie's the very sharp straight man.
But early BBC stuff, yeah.
Go from the BBC stuff onwards, and there was the genius of Eddie Braben to spot that these two men were basically brothers, and they loved each other, and there was a lot of warmth between them, and that he just thought, why has nobody turned that into the comedy? Why have they tried to make them comedians? Why has nobody written down stuff that plays to the strength of them being best mates? And when you watch a Morecambe and Wise show, I can't take my eyes off Ernie because he's enjoying himself so
you can see it on his face. You generally can. You can see the joy on his face because even though it was like you said, they had practiced and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and it looked so off the cuff.
Yeah,
but the joy was there to know that. Yeah, brilliant double.
But when they did stuff off the cuff, they worked as one. There's the 1970 BAFTAs, and they go on to accept an award or present. No, they go on to present. No, they accept an award. Marty Feldman, they are Light Entertainment Television Personality of the Year. Now, Marty Feldman and Eric were very good mates. There's a documentary called the series of documentaries called One Pair of Eyes, and Marty Feldman did one about comedy, and Eric Morecambe's one of the people he interviews in it. And Eric was a great one for going off in interviews and dazzling and inventing stuff and basically avoiding the answer. Whereas Marty Feldman pins him down and gets him to answer things straight. And there's a lot of respect between the two of them. Marty was an old variety turn as well.
Yeah.
But Morris, Marty and Mitch, and he was a jazz trumpeter before that. But Marty Feldman goes, and Eric goes on and gives Marty a really big hug, and it's really, really sweet. But as they walk up onto the stage, Eric goes to try and steal one of the monitors, and Ernie instantly realizes what's going on, falls in with him and grabs the other end of it. Ernie was always there, always quick. Whatever Eric thought, Ernie knew it straight away. It was two minds, one thought. And then they get up there and Eric delivers one of the great ad-lib put downs, and I don't know whether it's his own invention, could possibly be because he's a very quick, funny guy, or whether Eddie Braben had given it to him. He looks at David Frost and says, "Are you in New York now?" It's just
no, as you said, just geniuses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But a lot of genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration.
It's all down to hard work,
and nobody worked harder than them. I think there was a competition at the BBC between them and the two Ronnies over who rehearsed more.
Yeah. There was one of the documentaries I watched not so long ago, and they were talking about that. And there's another two again.
Yeah.
The two Ronnies.
Yeah.
It's just geniuses.
Yeah.
But I would say back to Ken Dodd.
Appalling name dropping. I had dinner with Ronnie Barker and lunch with Ronnie Corbett. Not on the same day. No. There was a dinner. This is when I was a journalist. There was a dinner to launch the book of Ronnie Barker's scripts, and the publisher sat me next to him, and wow. And
awesome
then
experience.
But lunch with Ronnie Corbett was the lunch with Ronnie Corbett was the oldie of the year. I used to write a lot for the Oldie magazine when Richard Ingram's edited it, and I used to go to the Oldie of the Year every year, the awards lunch. And my mate Ben Tisdall was the events organizer, and he did the seating plans. And he said, "Oh, I've done you proud this time, Barfe. I've done you proud." Right, okay. I got in there. I looked at the table. Right. So I'm sitting there, and I've got Ronnie Corbett opposite me, and next to me is Spike Milligan, and on the other side of Spike is Barry Cryer. He's a very old mate of mine. So the Cryer aspect, I knew I was going to see him. And I spoke to Tisdall, and I said, "Blimey, couldn't you find another famous person to sit on Spike's other side?" He said, "Well, it's not about that. It's not about that." He said, "Spike gets bored." He said, "So I've done it so that he's got three people who will keep him entertained and talking. And he knows the other two well. And you've met him before, haven't you?" He said, "Oh, I went to his house and interviewed him years ago. But you're his biggest fan, so you'll just I said, "Oh, hello, Spike. We've met before." And he said, "You've left an indelible blank in my memory," which was lovely. And yeah. So we kept Spike amused over lunch.
That's again an amazing story.
Yeah.
And I never knew any of it. See, I never knew any of this about you. And
Well, yeah, if I'm a terrible name dropper, given half a chance, but you've obviously not given me half a chance. my next book will be my memoirs. Name drops keep falling on my head.
Oh, what a brilliant title.
I think I might have stolen it.
No, she was. I was with you when you thought it up.
Well, we won't have any trouble from American collectors trying to claim the copyright.
Yeah.
Get the film cans ready.
So, have we missed a book out?
There's that's the Ken Dodd one. We've done the Ken Dodd one. Well, I'm working on a Morecambe and Wise one right now, and also a few years ago, somewhere in the middle, I edited this one, which is great sketches from TV comedy. Which was actually harder work than writing a book because I had to transcribe the bloody things. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that was my my finest effort as a typist. Yeah.
I'm terrible at typing. I love writing, but I'm a
long hand.
Yeah.
You're a long hand man.
Yeah, I can't spell for toffee.
That's what the graffiti in the bus station toilet says about you, anyway.
Yeah, it's true. I wrote it.
God, there's some stunning graffiti in there about a bloke who's having it off with his sister-in-law. Anyway, well, there was last time I was in there. Yeah. No, the thing
that one wasn't me.
No, nor I. And so at the moment, I'm basically sitting here writing in lockdown, and I'm missing the bit that you knew about me. I'm missing my drumming.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from there. Performing is something that that's why I started this. Because I had to do something that was creative.
I'm doing bits of remote recording, with friends, and we're putting it all together. And it's quite good fun, but there's nothing to beat playing in front of people, particularly with the Bristol big band, Bristol Community Big Band. We're doing a lot of swing dance gigs, and there's nothing to beat watching people dance.
No, there isn't, and enjoying themselves.
You're doing that, and the thing is, if you've got the tempo wrong, you will realize it because they'll all be falling over and tripping over their legs and whatever. So, but when they're looking happy and relaxed and all that, that's a great feeling. And it's also a great feeling just going up there with 18 of your mates and making an almighty racket.
Yeah, there is nothing better. I miss it.
I've played in all sorts of bands, but playing big band stuff really is the absolute bollocks.
You can't beat big band though. It's you just feel good just listening to it. It's
no, and the thing is, before all this kicked in, Alex Rhys was saying, oh, we need to get the big band into Jack's. So hopefully that'll happen afterwards.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Do a big swing dance at Jack's. Yeah, that'd be great.
Little stall in the corner then selling your books.
No, for a certain fee, I'll come around and read them to you. Bedtime story.
Oh, right. Okay. We go for the smallest because I'm skint.
I'm very, very cheap. People don't realize how cheap I am.
I had heard, but I just didn't want to say.
Well, again, it was back to the bus station toilets, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, me and Peter Wingard. Yeah. I slipped on a patch of liquid.
It's been great chatting to you tonight. I've learned such a lot, and it's nice to talk to somebody that understands, like, my sense of humor, because it's that they are my sense of humor. I grew up with Carry On films, Morecambe and Wise, all these people, and it's nice to talk to somebody that appreciates the same things as me.
Brilliant.
I thought I thought I was the only one. But
you are not alone.
I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen.
I like to watch.
I didn't want to say it like that. I didn't. The judge just told me I got to be careful.
Dogging's taken a knock, isn't it?
I was thinking, well, what are they doing? They can't even. They can go into each other's gardens now.
Oh, fucking Collymore! It's like a coiled spring, Fucking hell. Collymore and McFadden.
And I was wondering as well about sort of what a
Paul Ross in a lay-by. They don't know what they're doing. Sorry.
What? Phil Mitchell in his camper van.
Yeah.
Phil Mitchell.
I always keep the wet wipes for the wing mirrors. Well, you see, the thing is, sometimes also when you've got heated wing mirrors, if it's a cold night, they might just be getting close just to warm themselves up.
They could be, yeah.
Could be that.
I don't think the judge would go for that.
And also when I go dogging, I like to send out mixed signals. I like to put the light on to indicate that people are welcome. But I like to play Kashmir by Led Zeppelin at full volume so people stay well away.
You're welcome, but don't come near.
Yeah, because I find Kashmir by Led Zeppelin to be the ultimate boudoir music. Sorry. Yeah. We've gone slightly off piste here.
We have. I think on that note now.
On that bombshell.
We'll call it a night. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
You need to come on again because I want to know more about Morecambe and Wise.
I've got yards more of this shit.
Yes, exactly, and I'm sure we could have gone on all night as well. But I think the cat is going to kill me if I don't go and feed him. No. So he bit me 3 times already.
I've got to walk the dog, so that's probably perfect timing, really.
It is. Well, thanks very much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Where can people find your books?
Under hedges and in lay-bys.
I remember the books that they found that used to find in hedges.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore. Razzle.
No, they don't. You never see the wild porn mag anymore.
No, it's all
endangered
gone
species.
It's all gone online, isn't it?
It has, yeah. You tell kids that these days, they won't believe you. The porn mags used to breed in bushes.
Well, and also it was a reliable indicator of economic conditions. In times of recession, people kept their porn. When things were going well, they could just chuck it away. But you knew things were bad.
I used to think it was like sort of the early form of recycling.
Yes.
Upcycling, really. Yeah, look, I finished with this.
Yeah.
If you can get the pages open, you can have a look as well.
Yeah, right, upcycling. Yeah, anyway. And on that note.
Definitely on that note, I shall see you again.
Good night. Cheers,
Thank
Steve.
you. I shall see you soon, and I'll hopefully.
I'll see you soon from 2 meters apart. Yeah, pub.
Yeah,
pub.
In the pub.
Yeah.
Pub, please. Even I'm calling for the pub now. Right. Thank you very much. See you soon, and thanks everyone that's tuned in. See you on Sunday night, where I'm talking to Chris P. Thomas. Yeah, no, Crispy Pete. Yeah. Oh God, it's all gone.
Crispy.
Anyway, I'm here Sunday. Yeah, I'm here Sunday. Let's just say that.